Okay. This is a very weird thing to make clay foam from. These videos that I'm going to be making are mainly about air dry foam clay. So that is clay that is made with craft foam, EVA foam, that dries in the air. There's lots of names for it. There's lots of brands. You have Silk Clay, you have Crayola, Funny Gummy, you've got original Funny Gummy, all the copies of Funny Gummy, Flexi Soft. I use this brand here called Stellan because I can get it in all the different colours. It's non-toxic, it doesn't stain, it's lightweight, it's really good if you have texture issues for things like plasticine or that sort of thing. It doesn't stain anything. You can eat it if you really wanted to. Don't recommend it, but it's air dry, and we will be making figurines from it. We will be making different pieces of decorations or cosplays or that sort of thing. But for now, the tools and how we work it and what you need for this. There are lots of ways to use this product, and I recommend you start with some very basic tools and very basic techniques, and then build up from there. You can make giant dragons, you can make giant armor, you can do lots of things. You can make wigs with it. It's a fantastic product, and more people need to know about it. People need to do with it. And a bonus side, if anybody suffers from RSI or needs physio on their hands, this is a really good way of doing that manipulation in your wrists without needing one of those squish balls and getting very, very bored. It's a good process. So these are the clays. We will open this one so that you can see what it looks like. Let's put this off to the side. It comes and it looks like this. It's super flexible, super squishy, super soft. You can see there, it's super tech. You can do lots with it, but it is air drying, so you need to seal it back up super tight. So this is the clay. These are other versions of the clay. The techniques are exactly the same. Okay, you can make big pieces and small pieces depending on what you fill. You don't want to have more than 5 millimeters, a quarter of an inch of foam on the outside, because it would just take far too long to dry, and it would also stretch and crack. So you have to be, it's a balance between having enough clay that it covers and dries in a way that doesn't crack. So first things you will need, some polystyrene balls. If we're making horns, you would want the cones. If you're making dragon eggs, you would want the egg shapes. So this is the one I normally work with. It's 90 millimeters, which I will put up on screen, whatever that is in inches. I need to remember. I need to make a little note that says what it is in inches. Probably about 3-inch polystyrene ball. Now this never goes in the oven. At no point should you be putting this in the oven, so this is perfectly safe. If you don't want to use polystyrene for whatever reason, you can use tin foil, you can use paper, you can use lots of different things. Hey, just dropping in to say that tin foil is the same as aluminium foil, aluminum foil, kitchen foil, plato de cucina, whatever you call it where you are. It's just that very thin metal paper that you use in the kitchen to cover things that go in the oven. That's what I mean when I say tin foil. So I hope that helps. So that is the main thing. And then the tools you need is one cap brush, one nectarine, one super glue, one sponge, and a paintbrush. They're your tools to do craft foam. Ta-da! No, this is This is what I use to make my tools, because when I started doing this, I had very little money and I enjoyed it, but I really am like, I don't want to pay a load of money for clay crafting tools, and I don't want to pay a load of money for lots of things. I just used what was on hand. So, paintbrush, really easy. Use the paintbrush. It's just a cheapy paintbrush, and each paintbrush is. And when it is all done and used up and crappy and horrible, you just break the end off. Let's get a pliers. Break the end off. There we go. So, and now you have a really cool tool on that end. Let's see if I can get this in focus. Tool on that end and a roundy point on that end. If you want, you can go in and sand this down just a little bit. So it's nice and smooth. Different sizes of paintbrush will give you different ends. So you have small and big, that sort of thing. The sponge, you don't need a sponge this big. You can cut it up. One of these sponges does an entire, like, so many. I cut them up into small little cubes. You want it hard and you want it soft. So that is there. That is there. Let me put my pliers away. So that is that. You don't need this big. Now the super glue. Super glue, most people use some form of weird super glue, and you end up with all these lids that are left over like this. And so you just hot glue them onto a little stick like this, because you're going to use this end for textures and stuff. So when you're finished with your super glue and this bit is all like done and finished, you just take this bit. So, and then you can, and then you have your stick for making textures. So that is that. We have this. Now this is a cat brush. It's got lovely spines, but you're never going to use something this size. So if you can buy them much smaller. If you can buy them like this size, where it's like super tiny, because you're only going to need this amount, like an inch square, maybe 2 centimeters square kind of thing. This amount is all you're going to need, and you cut it out and you glue it to a handle like this. I have these weird handles because I found a chair that was broken that had like these kind of, you know, turned back ends on them. But you can use like a piece of dowel, a piece of pipe, a brush, a piece of anything, like anything that will give you something to grip onto at the back. This is just a little bit of wood, so you could literally just do this, because you're going to basically go in and use it for texturing like this. So that is your cat brush, and this will like do you for bajillions. You could make really small ones, you could make long ones, you could make big ones. I think this cost me like €2, but I'm sure you could pick up a smaller one for like €1. So ASMR. You don't want the ones with the little plastic bobbles on the top of them. You want the ones that are basically bits of metal, and it's a really good option for doing texturing. I mean, you could use like these wire brushes, but these wire brushes are so close together that the texture goes really weird. So I like these. When I do classes, I cut these up, and this will do like a class of, 12 people maybe, and then they get to take it home and keep it. So it makes a nice little gesture for the class. But this is what that is. And then this is where everybody goes a bit mad. This is a nectarine, and nectarines are really awesome fruit. Okay. This is a very weird thing to make clay foam from, but this is not what you want. What you want is the inside seed. And so what you want is the stones. So you want these from the inside. And so what you do is you eat a lovely piece of nectarine, or a peach works as well. And these will give you super organic shapes. So you get your stone and you want it to be closed. You don't want an open stone. You want it to be completely open like this. If you don't like nectarines or peaches or fruit, get someone else to eat it for you and have these. So what you want to do is you want to soak it in bleach for a day or two, or alcohol. You want to kill basically the seed that's inside, and then you want to put it in the, and then you want to let it dry out completely. So that takes probably a day or two on low. In this heat, maybe less. Now I like having a couple of different ones because you have different textures in each. Like this one is more long shaped, this one is more subtle, this one is more pronounced. So you have a whole bunch of them. Now you can use tinfoil, absolutely can use tinfoil. You can make your own textures perfectly fine. I like these textures, they're very good for making organic textures because none of them are the same. Very good for making stone texture, that sort of thing. So enjoy a nectarine and a peach. Ta-da! Clay foam, you know. So you've got those, and then you need a pokey stick. Now I like these. I think these are for manicures, which I don't get because my hands are always completely messy. And so it's got a flat end on one end and a pokey stick on the other. And then the other thing you need is some toothpicks, but this is, I think most people have those. So this. So they're your tools. You have a cat stick, a pokey stick, rounded stick, texture stick, which is your super glue, your sponge. There you go, those. And then to follow along with anything that I'm making, you need one of these, which is a ping pong ball. Just your standard ping pong ball. Because what I've learned is that when I say to people, make a ball of clay in order to make the next part, the balls range from tiny little pea shapes sizes to giant tennis ball shapes. And I learned that the easiest shape is ping pong ball, but most people don't know what size a ping pong ball is, and so their idea of a ping pong ball ranges from a pea to a tennis ball. So a ping pong ball is at most 4 centimeters, so an inch and a half maybe. So see if you can steal one from friends or family, or if you can buy them cheap, buy them cheap. Normally I buy them in packs of 6 at the sports store for like $3. A useful thing would be something sharp, or you know, something for cutting stuff. So a knife or a pair of scissors like this, but nothing major. For the majority of everything, you want your hands and your tools here, but even then you can improvise, you know. You can have pencils and toothbrushes and all that sort of stuff. I mean, you can if you want to. I mean, this is what I use. This is what I use in my classes to get people into clay foam, because if you start talking about complicated tools, you know, like fimo extrusion tools and you know, stamps and stencils and texture tools, and then you can go right down the line of, you know, silicone tools and carving tools and texture tools. Like if you want to, I mean, this is a, oh my god, a scrapbook tool from a bajillion years ago, from Tim Holtz. It's a texture tool from Tim Holtz. These are clay tools, ball tools for like fimo and stuff like this. These are useful tools, but they're not necessary tools. You don't need them They're nice to have, but you don't need them. These you need. Something with a roundy end, something with a pointy end, some texture stuff, some other texture stuff. But all of this, I mean, you don't need to have any texture. You can make everything super smooth, no texture. Everything super smooth, no texture. You can literally have a single pointy stick. If you wanted to, I mean, you could do the whole lot without any tools at all. But it'd be quite boring. So, ta-da! Hey, thanks for watching this video about the tools that I use with the foam. The next video will be about the base structure for any of the upcoming creatures. And if you like what you're seeing and you'd like to see more, please subscribe. I just want to give a shout out to everybody who's encouraged me and supported me, especially those on Patreon and through Ko-fi. That support has made a big difference. Thank you. Here's some bits that didn't make it into the actual video. Some funny bits. Hope you enjoy. Bye. And what you do is you cut it, you open it. It's a good way of getting food. So I can get a better one. Maybe that should be the thumbnail. Let's make something with a nectarine. I don't think it'll make sense to anybody. Thanks for watching till the end of the video. If you like what you see, please subscribe or go check me out on Instagram or through Patreon. Thanks again. Bye.